Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we'll take a look at the ServiceNow developer site. This website contains lots of information that is geared towards the developer as opposed to an end user or power user. Here you will find information specific to development. So you'll find things like the API documentation, walkthroughs on how to do specific tasks, as well as learning paths that ServiceNow has created. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ServiceNow developer site. We've seen the developer website already. It's actually where we signed up originally and got a personal developer instance. So there's all kinds of useful information here for a developer. At the top, there is information about the developer program. So we can click on developer, and here we'll see some information explaining the ServiceNow developer program. If you wanted to become a partner, you could read that. Also, the FAQ is a good read as well. It tells you some information about the personal developer instance, API reference, learning plans, etc. But let's go ahead and navigate into the training under the Learn section. So here we have some walkthroughs. We have the developer site walkthrough. We have a walkthrough to build my first application. We have the build, the needed application, securing applications, etc. So I highly recommend going through these if you're interested in ServiceNow development. Under the Learn section, there's also learning paths. Here are step-by-step guides on how to do certain things, or just general guided tours. So there's one for if you're new to ServiceNow. There are ones for the administrator or the application developer. So I would recommend, again, if you're new to ServiceNow, I would recommend starting with this one. And what you'll see here are a number of modules. So we have 17 modules here that walk us through certain components of the platform. So this one starts with Servicenow Basics. So let's go into this one. And here we can see we have a number of steps, and it just tells us some information. There are even exercises that they provide here as well. So I highly recommend checking out these learning paths. Then under Learn, we have documentation. So here is just some additional documentation on the platform. And they kind of walk you through certain scenarios here as well. So there's a lot of good stuff here too. But the next, if you're actually a ServiceNow developer, you'll come here quite frequently. So the next section is the actual API documentation. It's broken up into server, client, and REST, which is a protocol for web services. So we'll just go into the server API. And here we get a nice list of a number of ServiceNow APIs here on the left. And then in the main section, we get the descriptions of the APIs as well as examples using them and the methods contained within the API. So for example, I'm just going to scroll down and click the Glide Record API. And here we have all of the methods, or all of the primary methods associated with the Glide Record API, as well as examples on how to use them. So this is great information for a developer. If you're new to development on the ServiceNow platform, I highly recommend taking the time to familiarize yourself with these APIs. There's nothing worse than spending hours and hours implementing a certain thing, only to find out that there's already an API out there that does exactly what you created. Then we have the Manage tab, which, again, this is to manage your personal developer instance. Here we can do things like activate a certain plugin, we can remove demo data, or we can even request an upgrade to our instance. So if the next version or next release of ServiceNow comes out and we want to upgrade our personal developer instance, we can do so here. Then we have a link to the community. We have a link to share, which is where you can share applications in the ServiceNow community, events, and the blog. So again, there's a lot of good material here on the ServiceNow developer site. I recommend checking out all of the content in the program section, as well as the learn section. And if you want to become a developer, definitely check out the API section as well.